I stood there in the kitchen, my hands shaking as I stared at her phone on the counter. It had rung unexpectedly, and when the screen lit up, there he was, my husband's face, smiling back at me from a photo I'd never seen before. But he had been gone for years, taken by that awful heart attack, leaving me to grieve alone. Why was his picture on her caller ID? My heart pounded as I picked it up, and the voice on the other end wasn't just any stranger. It was someone who knew things about him that only a lover would. The betrayal hit me like a wave, shattering everything I thought I knew about my family. How could this be happening? My own daughter-in-law, the woman I'd welcomed into our home with open arms, hiding something so devastating. I felt my world crumble, tears blurring my vision as the truth began to unravel. If you've ever discovered a secret that tore your family apart, you'll understand the pain that gripped me in that moment. If this story touches your heart, please subscribe and stay with me to hear how this ends. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. You might see your own family in this story. My name is Eleanor Hayes, and I'm 72 years old. I've lived a life full of love and loss, but nothing prepared me for what was coming. For most of my years, I was a devoted wife and mother, raising my son Thomas in a cozy little house in suburban Ohio that my late husband Robert and I bought right after we married. Robert was a hard-working mechanic, always tinkering in the garage, and I spent my days as a school teacher, shaping young minds until I retired 10 years ago. We weren't wealthy, but we had each other, and that was enough. After Robert passed away 5 years ago from a sudden heart attack, I thought the worst pain was behind me. I grieved deeply, but I found solace in my family. My son Thomas, now 42, and his wife Vanessa, whom he'd married 8 years ago. They have 2 beautiful children, my grandchildren Lily, who's 6, and little Max, just 3. I adored them all. I remember how I sacrificed so much to help them build their life. When Thomas and Vanessa were struggling after he lost his job at the factory, I dipped into my savings to help them with the down payment on their house, just a few blocks away from mine. "It's what family does," I'd tell them, smiling as I handed over the check. Vanessa would hug me tightly, her eyes shining with gratitude, or so I thought. She was always so polished, with her career as a marketing executive keeping her busy, but she'd make time to bring the kids over for Sunday dinners. I'd bake apple pies from scratch, just like my own mother taught me, and watch Lily and Max play in the backyard while Thomas helped me with the dishes. Those moments filled my heart with joy. I never asked for anything in return, just their love and company. Looking back, there were tiny signs I missed, like how Vanessa would sometimes tense up when Robert's name came up in conversation, or how she'd quickly change the subject if I shared old stories about him. But I chalked it up to her being uncomfortable with grief. After all, she was family. I trusted her completely. My home was always open to them. I'd babysit the grandchildren whenever they needed a night out, reading bedtime stories to Lily about princesses and knights, tucking Max in with his favorite stuffed bear. I even helped Vanessa with her work sometimes, proofreading her reports late into the night because she said my teacher's eye caught things others missed. "You're a lifesaver, Eleanor," she'd say, kissing my cheek. I felt needed, valued. My life revolved around them, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. The house felt alive again with their laughter echoing through the rooms that had grown too quiet after Robert's death. But as the months passed, I noticed subtle changes. Vanessa's visits became shorter, her smiles a bit forced. Thomas seemed distracted, always on his phone or rushing off to work. I didn't want to pry. I figured they were just busy with life. One afternoon, as I sat knitting a sweater for Lily in my living room, surrounded by framed photos of happier times, Robert and me on our wedding day, Thomas as a boy riding his bike, I felt a pang of loneliness. But I pushed it aside, reminding myself how blessed I was. Little did I know, the foundation of that blessing was about to crack wide open. That's when everything changed for me. It started innocently enough on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was at Thomas and Vanessa's house, babysitting the grandchildren while they were out running errands. Lily was coloring at the kitchen table, her little tongue sticking out in concentration, and Max was napping in the next room. I was tidying up the counter when Vanessa's phone, left behind in her haste, began to ring. The screen lit up, and there it was, a photo of my Robert, looking younger and happier than I'd seen him in years, his arm around someone I couldn't quite make out because the image was cropped. My heart skipped a beat. Robert had been dead for 5 years. Why would his photo be on her caller ID? Confused, I glanced at the name, Secret Love. My hands trembled as I answered it, thinking it must be some mistake, perhaps an old contact she hadn't updated. Hello? I said, my voice shaky. A woman's voice came through, smooth and unfamiliar. Is Robert there? We need to talk about our last meeting. It's urgent. I felt a chill run down my spine. Robert, my husband Robert? He's been gone for years, I stammered. There was a pause, then the woman laughed bitterly. Gone? That's what he told you. Listen, lady, Robert and I have been seeing each other for the last 7 years. He said his wife was clueless, but this is ridiculous. Tell Vanessa to have him call me back. The line went dead, and I stood there, frozen, the phone slipping from my fingers. Vanessa? How did this stranger know Vanessa's name? My mind raced back to that photo, Robert's arm around someone. Was it Vanessa? No, it couldn't be. She was my daughter-in-law, married to my son. But the pieces started falling into place. The late nights Robert claimed he was working, the mysterious business trips, Vanessa's odd discomfort around his memory. I confronted Vanessa as soon as she walked through the door, her arms full of grocery bags, looking so put together in her fitted blazer and heels. Vanessa, what is this? I held up the phone, my voice breaking. She froze, her face paling. Eleanor, you shouldn't have answered that. She snatched it from me, her eyes darting away. It's nothing, just a wrong number. But I pressed her, tears welling up. The caller mentioned Robert and you, said they've been together for years. Tell me it's not true. She sighed, setting the bags down with a thud, and for a moment I saw something cold in her expression. Fine, Robert and we had an affair. It started before Thomas and I got married, but it's over now. He's dead, isn't he? What does it matter? Her words hit me like a slap. How could she be so casual? I felt my legs weaken, sinking into a chair as Lily looked up confusedly from her drawing. But why? Robert was my husband, your father-in-law. How could you betray us like this? Vanessa crossed her arms, her voice sharp. Betray? Eleanor, Robert pursued me. He said you two were unhappy, that it was just a marriage of convenience. And honestly, it helped me. He gave me money for my career, connections. Thomas doesn't need to know. It would destroy him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This woman I'd treated like a daughter had been sleeping with my husband behind my back, using him for her own gain. The shock made my chest tight like I couldn't breathe. I thought of all the times she'd sat at my table, eating meals I'd cooked, while hiding this secret. You used him? And me? I've given you everything, my time, my money, my love. She shrugged, her tone dismissive. You're being dramatic. It's in the past. Just forget it. But I couldn't. As I gathered my things to leave, Max woke up crying, and Vanessa snapped at me to handle it. I rocked him in my arms, my tears falling onto his hair, wondering how my family had come to this. That night, alone in my bed, I cried until dawn, replaying every moment, every lie. How had I been so blind? The pain was unbearable, like losing Robert all over again, but worse, this time, tainted by deceit. I didn't tell Thomas yet. I needed proof, something to make sense of this nightmare. But deep down, I knew this was just the start of the heartbreak. I didn't know it then, but this was only the beginning of the unraveling. In the days that followed, Vanessa started pulling away even more, but now with a calculated coldness that chilled me to the bone. First, it was the financial manipulation. I'd always helped them out, but now she began asking for more, subtly at first. Eleanor, the kids' school fees are due and Thomas's job isn't paying enough. Could you spot us a few thousand? She'd say over the phone, her voice sweet but insistent. I gave it, of course, thinking of Lily and Max. But then I discovered she'd been using my credit card information. Robert had added her as an authorized user years ago for emergencies, and she'd never been removed. When the statement came, there were charges for luxury spas, designer clothes, even a weekend getaway. Vanessa, these aren't for the kids, I confronted her one evening at their house, showing her the bill while Thomas was in the other room. She rolled her eyes. It's not a big deal. Robert would have wanted me to have nice things. Consider it repayment for all the support I gave him. Her words twisted like a knife. I felt used, like my grief was being monetized. I told her to stop, but she just laughed. Or what? You'll tell Thomas? He won't believe you over me. That night I lay awake, my heart aching, wondering if Robert had truly loved her more than me. Then came the isolation from my grandchildren, which hurt even deeper. Vanessa started canceling our planned visits. The kids are too busy with activities, she'd text, or we're going out of town. But one day, I stopped by unannounced with homemade cookies and found Lily playing alone in the yard. Grandma! She ran to me, hugging tight. Vanessa appeared at the door, her face hardening. What are you doing here? I told you we're busy. She pulled Lily inside, saying, Go play in your room, sweetie. Grandma's leaving. As the door shut in my face, I heard Lily ask why and Vanessa reply, because Grandma's being nosy. I stood there on the porch, rain starting to fall, feeling like an outsider in my own family's life. It was deliberate. She was punishing me for discovering her secret. I tried calling Thomas, but he brushed me off. Mom, Vanessa says you're overreacting. Give her space. Space? From her own grandchildren? The loneliness gnawed at me, memories of Robert's betrayal mixing with this new pain. I spent evenings staring at old photos, tears streaming, whispering to his picture, How could you do this to us? The property seizure came next, escalating everything. My house held so many memories. Robert's tools still in the garage, our wedding china in the cabinets. But Vanessa had convinced Thomas we should consolidate for my safety. Eleanor, you're getting older. Move in with us, and we'll sell your place, she suggested at a family dinner, her smile too perfect. I refused, but then papers arrived. A power of attorney form with my signature forged, listing Vanessa as my agent. How did you get this? I demanded, storming to their house. She admitted it casually. Robert helped me practice your signature years ago, for convenience. It's for your own good. Thomas sided with her, saying, Mom, it's to protect you. But I knew it was about the equity in my home. She wanted it for her lifestyle. I felt violated, my independence slipping away. That confrontation ended with her yelling, Stay out of our lives if you don't like it. I left in tears, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. Public humiliation followed, breaking my spirit further. At Lily's school play, where I'd been invited as a proud grandma, Vanessa introduced me to her friends as Thomas's needy mother who won't let go. They laughed, and she added, She's always meddling, thinking she knows best. I overheard it all from the row behind, my face burning with shame. Later, when I pulled her aside, hurt and confused, she whispered, If you keep digging into the past, it'll get worse. It was a threat, plain and simple. I went home that night, curling up in Robert's old armchair, sobbing quietly so the neighbors wouldn't hear. How had my loving family turned so cruel? The threats of a nursing home came soon after, terrifying me. Eleanor, if you can't handle living alone, maybe it's time for assisted living, Vanessa said over coffee one morning, her tone matter-of-fact. She'd even toured places, showing me brochures. It's for your safety, after all. You're forgetting things. But I wasn't. It was gaslighting, making me doubt my own mind. She told Thomas I was declining, and he believed her. Mom, Vanessa knows best. She's researched it. I pleaded with him. Don't do this to me. This is my home. But Vanessa smirked. Or we could use that power of attorney. The fear kept me up nights, imagining being shipped away from everything I knew. Gaslighting intensified, with Vanessa twisting every conversation. You must be misremembering, Eleanor. Robert and I were just friends, she'd say when I brought up the affair. She'd deny the phone call, the charges, everything. You're paranoid from grief. Even Thomas started questioning me. Mom, are you okay? Vanessa says you're imagining things. It made me feel crazy, isolated in my own truth. One evening alone, I broke down completely, clutching Robert's photo, whispering, was any of it real? Then, the discovery of more lies, a hidden bank account in Robert and Vanessa's names with transfers from our joint savings. I found statements in my attic, hidden among Robert's things. How deep does this go? I murmured to myself, the betrayal sinking deeper. It was a conspiracy that had started long before his death. But amid the darkness, there was a wild card moment of hope. My old friend Margaret, who'd known me since teaching days, noticed my withdrawn state during our weekly lunch. Eleanor, something's wrong. Tell me. I broke down and shared everything. She hugged me, saying, You're not alone. We'll figure this out. Her support was a lifeline, reminding me I had allies. If this story breaks your heart like it does mine, please hit that like button and tell me in the comments if you've ever felt betrayed by family. The breaking point came when I overheard Vanessa on the phone, plotting to declare me incompetent to seize full control. Yes, the old lady's losing it. We'll get the house soon, she said. That was it. I couldn't suffer in silence anymore. That's when I finally found my voice. With Margaret's help, I contacted an elder law attorney, Linda Barnes, a sharp woman in her 50s who'd seen cases like mine. We met in her office, surrounded by stacks of files, and I poured out my story, the affair, the forgery, the isolation. Eleanor, this is elder abuse and fraud, she said firmly. We can fight this. She advised gathering evidence, so I did. The bank statements, credit card bills, even recording a conversation with Vanessa where she admitted the affair. For insurance, I told myself, my hands steady for the first time in months. The confrontation happened at a family meeting I insisted on, in my living room with the afternoon sun filtering through the curtains. Thomas, Vanessa, Margaret, and Linda were there. Vanessa arrived looking smug, but her expression faltered when she saw the lawyer. What's this about? She demanded. I stood tall, though my heart raced. Vanessa, I know everything. The affair with Robert, the money, the forgery. It's over. I played the recording, her voice filling the room. Yes, Robert and I were lovers. So what? Thomas's face went white. What? Mom, is this true? Vanessa tried to deny it, stammering, She's lying. She's confused. But Linda presented the documents, the forged signature analyzed by an expert, the secret account traces. This is fraud, Mrs. Hayes. We've notified the authorities. Vanessa broke then, her polished facade cracking. Fine. Robert loved me more than her anyway. He said she was boring, that I made him feel alive. And the money? I deserved it for putting up with this family. Thomas recoiled, hurt flashing in his eyes. You cheated on me. With my father? He turned to me, tears welling. Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. The police were called for the fraud, and Vanessa was arrested for forgery and financial exploitation. In court, the judge ruled in my favor, the power of attorney voided, repayments ordered, over $50,000 she'd siphoned. Thomas filed for divorce, citing the affair, and custody leaned toward him with my support. Vanessa lost her job when her boss learned of the scandal. Her reputation in our small community shattered as whispers spread. Friends turned away, and she ended up moving to a tiny apartment, alone and disgraced. But there was a gray area. She showed partial remorse in a letter, Admitting jealousy of my marriage drove her, stemming from her own unhappy childhood. I didn't forgive fully, but I pitied her a little. As the dust settled, I felt liberated, my dignity restored. For the first time, I redecorated my home, painting the walls a cheerful yellow, symbolizing new beginnings. Thomas and the grandchildren moved closer, our bond stronger without her shadow. I watched Lily and Max play, my heart full again. Looking back now, I understand that betrayal can come from where you least expect it, but it also reveals your inner strength. I've lived long enough to know that secrets like that poison everything they touch, and karma has a way of balancing the scales. If I could go back, I'd tell my younger self to trust my instincts sooner, but I'm grateful for the lessons. It taught me to value myself beyond being a giver. Thomas has grown too, becoming more attentive, and we've started family therapy to heal the wounds. Vanessa? She's paying her dues, working a low-paying job, her luxury life gone. She reaches out occasionally, apologetic, but I've set boundaries, no more manipulation. My life is peaceful now, filled with grandchildren's laughter, Margaret's friendship, and my own pursuits, like joining a book club. I even traveled to the beach last summer, something Robert and I always talked about, but never did. It feels like reclaiming the years lost to grief and deceit. The moral here is clear. Respect your elders, for they've sacrificed more than you know, and family bonds should be built on truth, not lies. Karma doesn't forget, and neither should we, but forgiveness, even partial, can free your soul. If there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this. Never let anyone dim your light, especially not those closest to you. Stand up, speak out, and reclaim your peace. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Where in the world are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, please subscribe for more stories of strength and redemption. Have you ever experienced family betrayal or seen an elder mistreated? Share your thoughts in the comments. Looking back now, I wonder, what would you do if a single phone call exposed years of hidden lies in your family? The stories shared on this channel are entirely fictional and created solely for entertainment purposes. We believe in honoring our elders and treating all family members with love and respect. These stories are meant to inspire reflection on family relationships and the importance of compassion,